podcast. It's a podcast. It's the Dem Guys podcast. There we go. That was the intro for this week.
You know, normally we have our guests sing the intro.
Oh, we should.
Yeah, 100% of the time we've done that.
Yeah. No.
No? Okay, fine.
You had your chance to set a trend, Daudur.
You did.
I wouldn't do that to the internet to sing out loud.
Dang.
Well, welcome everyone to Dem Guys, the podcast where we really don't know what we're doing. This week...
It's the only podcast on the internet that's like that.
Yes.
Yep, we're the only one.
So, I'm Drew.
I'm Slash.
SnoShoe.
And daughter. Yay.
Welcome, daughter. You are the first girl in Dem Guys.
She's also the first
Woo!
guest. So technically 100% of our guests are girls. And 100% of
That's
the girls
true.
on our show is also guests.
There you go. Statistics.
Yeah. I'm
Enjoy
keeping track
them.
over here. I have like 4 graphs on my wall of all of our statistics.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. We're going to talk real briefly about the games we've been playing because we have a bunch of news items we've collected.
Wait. Aren't we a games podcast?
Meh.
Not officially.
A lot of the news items are game related. So
All right, I guess this is going back to the fact that we don't know what we're doing.
exactly.
All right, perfect. At least we preface with that.
Well, in the first episode, I said it's the podcast where we talk about whatever we feel like talking about.
Okay.
So,
That's
there
right.
you go.
Exactly. We've got it all figured out.
But we are going to start off with our games.
So go ahead, Drew. What have you been playing lately?
I have been playing lots of Minecraft. I played some PlayMindcrack server. I still absolutely love Dwarves versus Zombies.
Yeah, I played that for the first time in between the last episode and this one. It was amazing.
It's very, very cool. We still need to get together and all three of us play that, I think.
Sounds like fun.
It is fun. That's why you said it was fun.
Drew's like,
Funny,
yeah,
it
that sounds great.
Cool story, bro. Drew. I'm sorry, guys. He's on drugs today. Like hardcore drugs.
No, I'm really out of it for some reason. I have no idea why. And then I also, of course, played on the Vintage Boot fan server. I also played a lot of Smite. I'm really happy that I've sort of been getting back into that after the holidays. And the beta, I'm trying to remember when the beta ends. I think the beta ends in March. And I'm trying to reach max level before the beta's over because you get like special stuff. So, yeah. Smite is just a lot of fun. Talked about it before. So, and finally I played some Super Hexagon. I got a new high score of like 24 seconds.
New high score. I don't remember what my high score was on Super Hexagon. I think I got pretty high on that, though.
I've been playing Minecraft as well on the Vintage Bee fan server, primarily. I've got some prep work done for a prank that hopefully you guys will be seeing in the very near future. So,
Oh, shoot.
a little teaser for that. And some Kerbal Space Program. Been continuing with that. And that's coming up here pretty soon. Probably have the first episode of that out by the time the podcast goes live. And I ended up starting a new character in Starbound because they pushed a patch that the everything on your spaceship got reset. So if you had anything placed, including chests with goodies in, that stuff all got wiped, and your character stayed the same, and anything in your character's inventory was still there, but anything that you had stored in your spaceship was gone.
Well, I mean, in general, if you're thinking, like, relating to real life, would you not keep stuff on a planet instead of on a spaceship?
No, I would keep it on a spaceship because I would be able to fly it from place to place.
Right, but how often does a planet get destroyed?
In real life?
Yeah.
Not all that much.
Right. What about in Starbound?
Never.
Uh-huh. You catch my drift
I've never
here?
seen a whole planet get destroyed in
Right.
Starbound.
Spaceships, on the other hand, though.
I've never seen one of those get destroyed. Well, I guess I've destroyed one myself, so
Yeah, you play KSP.
yeah.
It really depends on your lifestyle. If you're living on the ship and traveling from planet to planet, it makes sense to keep your stuff on the ship. That way you don't have to
That's
keep
true.
unpacking.
Right, but you can always have a home planet.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, there's a patch coming out for Starbound very shortly, if it hasn't come out already, that they say is going to mean the end of character and spaceship wipes, that they won't ever have to do them again. So that should make the whole LPing process a little bit easier.
Where do you find out about your Starbound news? Do you go to the Reddit?
Mostly Zisto. Zisto's Starbound videos have covered a lot of that news, but I think there is a Reddit and they have a blog as well that they post a lot of that stuff on.
Yeah, they're really good with community involvement in general, but I just was wondering where you specifically got your news.
Yeah, mostly from Zisto. I figure if he's going to go to the effort of keeping himself up to date, I can just listen to him talk rather than having to go search things out myself.
Which is why you guys are probably listening to the podcast, so you don't have to research all of these awesome topics we're going to talk about.
Exactly. So what about you, Snow? What have you been playing lately?
Well, the FinishB fan server, we're all a part of that. Always
Indeed.
Playing on there. Actually, I did some different stuff this week. Actually, everybody on the podcast, except for Slash, even though we had something planned, we'll talk about that later. I've done like community stuff on the VBFS. So I built a cow farm for Daudur. How's that working, by the way? Is that going all right? You haven't even tried it yet?
I haven't really tried it.
Oh my gosh. Oh well, I don't care. I got paid.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does it matter to you what she does with it now? Maybe she just wanted a really cool looking, feature. Yeah. Not to use, but, not functional, but aesthetic.
I was thinking more like a sculpture.
A sculpture, yeah, there you go.
A sculpture, like, in the closet under the stairs that nobody will ever see. Clearly.
And then someday she can take it to the Antique Roadshow.
Roadshow. Great. Drew and I went around my base and killed all of the... I don't know how many we found in that episode. I guess it comes out today. Well, the day we're recording, it was like on Sunday, I guess, for you guys. And we finally found all 100 signs around my base, or at least a vast majority of them. And that took forever, but that was fun. And then Slash and I have some intense Minecrafting planned that hopefully will come out soon.
Indeed.
Yep, and then PlayMindcrack server, I released a couple episodes there. In between the last podcast and this one, I played DBZ for the first time, like Drew was saying, and that was awesome. I actually did pretty well for my first try, and then I played again after that because I had so much fun, and I did so bad. Like, I died within the first, 5 minutes, and only killed 2 people as a zombie, I think. It was terrible. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
And then something that I don't know if you guys have played yet, but, well, I guess... Daudur and I are
it's patron-only, I think, so far.
Yeah, Power Juice, the new... That's such a dumb name, I think. I don't know. Power Juice. I don't understand why it's called Power Juice. Do they talk about it in the Minecraft podcast?
I haven't listened to the latest one yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I keep waiting for a good drive to listen to it. But, it's Power Juice, I guess. You walk around and shoot people with bows and basically one-shot kills. But the trick is that you're bouncing up and down like crazy, and it's really, really hard to aim and hit people. So anyway, I released a video on that, trying to give like a first take. And then obviously I've been playing The Last of Us. That game is stinking awesome.
It's amazing.
I keep wanting to record like preemptively, and then I'm just going to have like 50 episodes backed up that I have recorded a year ago. And then finally, a game that I didn't know was a game, Google Earth. Yeah? No.
Oh, right. You had mentioned before about there's like a airplane simulator.
Yeah, there's a flight simulator in Google Earth. And I use Google Earth for... Yeah, there is. If you hit Control-Alt-A, I use Google Earth like every day in my job. So it's awesome because I can pretend like I'm doing my job, but then you just hit Control-Alt-A and you go back into the flight simulator. And you're just like flying around. So I think I'm halfway through a flight between the Gulf of Mexico and my house. So I plan on landing directly on my house sometime soon.
Nice.
I don't really. I guess
awesome.
The only way I save my progress is I just drop a pin whenever I have to stop. So then I pick back up where the pin is. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, I've been flying at F-16, like 500 miles an hour through Texas. Lots of times I try to go really close to the ground. It shows elevation at times. I think like it's kind of different. No, I don't remember. I don't remember if it shows elevation or not. But basically, I'm really, really close to the ground flying an F-16 up I-35, and it's fantastic.
It's pretty fantastic. Yeah.
It is. But anyway, yeah, you
Oh
guys
my
can check
gosh.
it out. Man, my voice.
Are you going through puberty right now?
I have already gone through puberty, but I may be doing it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's going through second puberty.
I'm like Benjamin Button.
He's reached the peak. He's reversed and he's going back.
Warp speed. Yeah. Anyway, I've been playing more Google Earth than anything else this week. Probably. I've been having a lot of fun with that. You can also fly prop planes and yeah. Whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
should
know
check
about that.
Do you have Google Earth?
Yeah,
I guess it's free, isn't it?
it is.
So it's like a free flight simulator, kind of.
Nice.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
You kind of have to
Yeah.
get the hang of it, but I've crashed into mountains multiple times.
So what about you, Daudur? Is there anything in particular you've been playing lately?
Minecraft and
Mhm.
Minecraft.
Very good.
That's like the only game I've been playing for a long time. I think I tried Starbound like 3 times or so, but yeah,
I haven't been
mostly
keeping up with
just Minecraft.
Starbound as much. I didn't get as addicted to it as I thought I would.
No, I kind of just didn't get the hang of it. So
I think it feels like the sort of game that might be a little bit more fun to play in a multiplayer capacity.
Yeah, like I can't wait to try to do the bands with multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of thing. And, and you can pool your resources a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, have you been doing much on PlayMindcrack, Daudur?
no, I think I've only like played games there twice.
You played with Rex and I the other day.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually played some survival games, and then I think it
You
was
got,
just like
third place. Or no,
I
you got
did.
second place.
no, I made it. I was like the
I
second
think you were
to
the
last.
last one killed. Yeah.
So that was
Well
fun.
done. Yeah.
And then I logged on this week, and I was just gonna have some fun, but then like 4 games in a row, I was killed in like the first minute, and I just rage quit.
It's very rage.
No, so you finally had a typical experience.
Yeah.
is what
Probably.
I understand. Yeah. How is now? Do you have any problems with the ping coming from Iceland, or is it like does it run pretty good going to the US server?
It's been okay for me, but like I said, I
Power
haven't
juice.
haven't
I didn't
spent
think I
much
had
time.
bad ping till I played that game. And I don't know what the heck is going on there, but I feel like every time I shoot my bow, it's like a half-second delay, and then the arrow comes out. Or, I don't know, there's some weird bugs to work out with that game, but I guess that's why it's patron-only right now.
Yeah, probably.
I haven't tried it. Thinking about doing it last night, then I fell asleep. Yeah, but I've mostly just been on the fan server, and I've been playing it like. Usually I don't find any time to play games during the week, but this week I have so much stuff I should be doing, and I keep like procrastinating, and it just keeps piling up. So all I've been doing is like grinding stuff in Minecraft because I can't, like, I don't know even where to start to do things I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you said you're getting a double chest full of everything?
Yeah, not really.
You thought about it at least. That's pretty great.
I made a huge storage room, and I just want to fill it. Not everything. Like
With like dirt.
I've been like trying to get like all the trees and like the building blocks and stuff.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's
that the new
Snitch's news crawl
Yeah.
theme. Let's see. I'm not going to bother with this first one. I'm going to go with SimCity. Finally has an offline mode. If you remember when SimCity launched, gosh, almost like a year ago, I guess now, there was a lot of problems with the servers being unreliable and people weren't being able to play their worlds, and then their cities would disappear and stuff like that. So they finally got to a point where they've patched the game sufficiently to allow people to connect or to play their worlds offline if the servers aren't
How is
available.
that such a hard thing? I mean, like, I don't know. I didn't really play SimCity, but how is going from an online mode to an offline mode that tough?
You wouldn't think it would be. I mean, they said that there was some sort of issue where there was communication back and forth with the server not related to just saving and loading. Like and I don't know the details of this, but that was like they were talking about. It was more difficult than we expected because we needed to adjust for this, that, and the other thing. Completely ignoring the fact that people had, in the community had successfully modded the game to play offline.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I feel like you could mod it and basically you just change the file paths from grabbing stuff online to grabbing them from your program files.
Exactly. It doesn't seem like it should be as complicated as EA made it, but I mean, when in recent memory can you think of EA doing anything well?
Yeah, well, I like the FIFA games, so I'll give them that.
Oh, well, there you go. But so that should be good, especially for those who are. I didn't have any interest in SimCity myself, but I know like BOO and some of the other guys were really into, and Doc were really into LPing SimCity stuff. So I know that the server problems were giving them some major issues in their attempts to do that. So this dedicated offline mode should make things a little bit easier for them. Next on the list, we got, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Nest, but it's a company that produces smart thermostats. The thermostats are supposed to pick up on whether or not you're in the room or whatever and adjust the temperature accordingly.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, instead of programming it like from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., have the temperature be this and then adjust it to this or whatever, you just adjust the thermostat whenever you want to adjust it for your comfort. And it will figure out, okay, well, you've been away for a while, so I think I can turn it back, or like you tend to turn it up to this temperature at this time of day, and eventually it learns these things.
Yeah, and then it stays awake. It's like a Furby that you stick on your wall, and then it yells at you.
Kinda, yeah. And the big news in the past couple of weeks is that Google has purchased Nest for $3.2 billion.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people concerned because we're talking about a thermostat that knows when you're home and where you live.
Knows when you're sleeping and knows when you're awake. And it knows if you've been bad or good.
Oh, for goodness sake. So Google, of course, everybody's concerned about Google having all this information about their users and, there's privacy concerns and whatnot. So, now Nest has, stated on the FAQ section of their website that, the information that is governed by the Nest privacy policy will still stay within the Nest portion of Google. Like it's sort of going to be a sub company. It's not going to be fully absorbed in and lose its identity within the Google super corporation.
Yeah, Google just wants the rights to everything they make, basically. Is what
exactly. So they're saying that the mother company will not get all that data. It'll just be maintained on Nest servers for the purposes of the product usage and nothing beyond that. So it's up to you to decide whether or not you think that's actually going to be the case or not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm terrified. Well, I mean, I for one welcome our Google overlords, but on top of that, they also have acquired Boston Dynamics. Did you guys hear about that? Have we talked about this in the podcast?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. This happened maybe like a month or two ago. And you know who Boston Dynamics is? They're pretty YouTube famous. They have all kinds of crazy automatronic whatever robots that are human-like, basically. It's like iRobot, and they've got little tiny robots that can jump 20 feet, and you guys have to check them out. Look them up on YouTube, Boston Dynamics. But Google's just like building this arsenal of anything you can think of, and they're going to have... I mean, they basically have a monopoly on technology.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Which is all according to plan.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean... I don't know. We can't like regulate it or anything. They can buy whatever they want, but I don't know. It's creepy.
Yeah, it's got some people concerned. I too am sort of on the Google bandwagon though. It's the same sort of logical fallacy that I think a lot of people have, where it's like I have not been negatively affected, therefore it can't be all that bad.
Right.
But I haven't. I haven't noticed a problem. I haven't had a privacy concern with Google or whatnot. So
that's because they're laying low. Just wait. They will awaken and they will take over everything. Daudur is probably okay in Iceland. I'm not sure that they really care about Iceland, but America, we're screwed.
Wow.
You guys have your elves and you guys will keep to yourself.
Yeah.
I was going to say they also have volcanic defenses.
Right,
yeah.
That's
Don't
true,
mess with
too.
us. It was really
The
funny,
Google
like
probably owns that one, yeah.
the year that the big volcano erupted, like a month before that, the British government declared terrorist some laws on Iceland, and then like the month after the volcano went off and just shut down Europe, and we were like, "Don't even try, man. We'll just blow you up."
we've got the planet on our side.
Yeah.
You understand?
No, but I don't think anyone cares. Like, we don't even get ads on YouTube or anything
Yeah.
because we're not even like they don't even recognize us basically.
Because you're the only one in Iceland that watches YouTube, I think.
Yes.
At least as far as any of our analytics are concerned.
Yeah, 100% of our Icelandic viewers watch YouTube, I guess. So, I don't know.
Oh man.
Is that one of your graphs on your wall?
It is. That one's kind of a straight line, but whatever.
It's a pie chart that is just a solid circle.
Yeah.
But the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I thought this was really cool, was as my Kerbal Space Program, senses kind of tingled. But there's a spacecraft called Rosetta, which was launched several years ago, and it has been actually asleep since mid 2011. And it's so I guess almost 3.5 years ago at this point.
Almost 3 years ago.
Yeah. But it was put into hibernation in June 2011, and it's due to wake up on Monday, the 20th. So as you're listening to this, 2 days previous to now for the listeners, and tomorrow for the rest of us.
Yeah, you should look it up. See if it woke up.
Exactly, yeah. But it was in hibernating for 30 months, and its purpose is it's been heading out to meet up with a comet that's only 4 kilometers wide, and it is going to attempt to land on it, which has never been done before. Because that's tiny. 4 kilometers wide is
Yep.
ridiculously tiny and very low gravity. So it's going to be very tricky to try to land on it, especially because we don't know exactly what it's made of. We presuppose that, comets are mostly ice and whatnot, but we don't know, how hard is the surface going to be? Is the craft going to sink into it? Is it going to bounce off? We have no idea.
Do they know how fast it's going?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be moving all that fast, in terms of orbital velocity around the sun.
Right.
Because it had to go out pretty far to get to it. The journey's taken as long as it has because they basically did flybys of planets on the way out there to get boosts from the planet's gravity, slingshotting around. And so if the further out you get, the slower your speed actually is. It's a weird fact of orbital mechanics, but the further out from the sun the planet is, the slower it's actually moving, in terms of radial velocity. So it's probably not going to be going all that fast, which is why it's going to be easier to land on it, because the change in velocity for the spacecraft is going to be relatively small to match speed with the comet.
See, what I've been wondering is how do they, what do they have that's powering the satellite? Do they just have a battery?
They have solar panels on it. It has wings.
Right, but how? It's really, really far away from the sun, right?
Yeah, but it still picks up on it. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they put it into hibernation, is because it's the efficiency of the solar panels at that distance is probably not all that good compared to a satellite, in orbit around Earth, for instance.
Right.
But it does have some solar panels, and so it has the ability to recharge its batteries to some extent. But I just found the number. It's going to be when it wakes up tomorrow or 2 days ago. Wibbly wobbly timey wimey. It's going to be 673 million kilometers, or almost 400 million miles.
I don't even know.
Away from Earth.
I have no idea what that means.
It's so ridiculous. But the craft's going to take a couple of hours to even be able to establish contact back on mission control with Earth. So the scientists will be like, okay, it's supposed to wake up now, and then they, sit and rock nervously in their chairs.
I just can't imagine planning so far ahead. It was launched in 2004, and I mean, imagine how much time went into actually building the thing and doing the research before that. Like, you
Yeah.
have to be really patient to be like a scientist waiting for this data. You've been like, I don't know, waiting for 10 years, and then like, oh, it just might crash into something, and it's just all gonna be ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this weekend, Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit came out. I'd mentioned the Jack Ryan movies and series and stuff in the last podcast, but I just wanted to. I went and saw it, and I was just gonna make a quick mention of my opinion on it without spoilers.
Okay, remind me who Chris Pine plays Jack Ryan, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And for people who don't know the name of the actor, that's the Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek movies. So hopefully that'll tell you who that is. Anyway, so yeah, went and saw Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. In my opinion, it wasn't really that great. I went and saw it, and at the end of it, I was like, "Yep, that was a movie." I really, I didn't come out of it. I mean, it wasn't absolutely terrible, but I didn't come out of it like, I'm really glad I went and saw that. It was more just like, okay, well, I've seen it. It's done. There's nothing more to say, really. It did make me think about a couple of other things, a couple of movies it reminded me of that I'm like, I really want to go watch that movie now. What?
I'm sorry, but that's like the exact opposite of what
Right.
a movie studio probably wants. So it's like they put out this movie. It was probably by one studio, right? And like as you're sitting there and you're watching it, you're like, that's right. I wanted to see this other movie by this other studio. Thanks for reminding me.
It's a movie that I've seen before, and it's just like, oh, this reminded me of the plot of that movie. That was a much better movie. I want to go watch that.
Okay.
So, and then it also gave me an urge to play the Rainbow Six games.
Right.
Probably mainly because of the fact that I know they're sort of in the same universe. Really didn't have a whole lot to do with Rainbow Six or whatever. It was just, I don't know. Kind of got that feeling afterwards. So, yep, that's it. I didn't think it was that great of a movie, but I mean, it was entertaining enough.
I mean, this is. I mean, how many Jack Ryan movies have they made now?
This is the 5th one.
So by the time you get to the 5th one in the series, it's not unusual for things to sort of lose their appeal, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just go back over. I've now seen all of them, and first of all, I didn't realize the Harrison Ford ones actually do take place, like, it goes with Hunt for Red October, the original Alec Baldwin one, and like it is actually supposed to be the same person years later. A lot of the same actors are in it, but then the Ben Affleck one sort of was like on its own. As far as I know, all of the previous movies were based on specific books, though. This one was just based on characters by Tom Clancy. It wasn't any of his stories, I don't think.
No, well, maybe that might be an explanation then for why it kind of rang hollow for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody tried to write a story as good as Tom Clancy can. Yeah, speaking of movies and watching things on a screen, the Oscar nominations came out this week. If you guys, I don't know, do you guys pay attention to the Oscars at all?
Not so much. I pay attention to Oscars. If I had to rank award shows, number one would be People's Choice because it's our opinion.
Slash is all for democracy.
Exactly. Then the Oscars, and then the Golden Globes, because the Golden Globes are those weird foreign things for the most part. So that's usually who wins awards there don't often line up with my expectations.
Well, so I wanted to talk about this because one of the things that my girlfriend and I do every time the Oscar nominees come out is we set out to see every single Best Picture nominee. So we got a head start on that last night, and we went and saw A Wolf on Wall Street. Is that what it's called? I always get
the Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf, yeah. Right, that's right. Okay, just a disclaimer: if you guys have any kind of sensitivity to basically anything at all, don't go see that movie because it is the most obscene, like sex, drugs, money, cuss words. It set the record for most F words in a movie. Like
Ever?
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know. First of all, that was even tracked.
I don't know. Well, I don't even know how you could track it through this movie. It was like literally every other word, and so many naked things, and so much drugs. Like, but it was a 3-hour movie, and it was the only 3-hour movie I've ever seen that had no slow parts in it. Like the entire movie was so fast paced. You got out of it, and I was pretty sure I'd had a heart attack like halfway through. You felt like you were on drugs for the rest of the night. It was just like, holy crap, man.
You got like contact high from the movie.
Yeah, they take these things called, I don't know if they're real or I've never heard of them. I'm not obviously involved in the drug culture, but Quaaludes. Have you guys heard of Quaaludes?
I actually have heard of them.
Okay.
I have no idea what they are, but I've heard the word before.
Yeah, that's like a main part in the movie. Basically, they're like sleeping pills that you try not to sleep for like 15 minutes. They're supposed to knock you out, but if you can avoid the knockout, then you get this insane high. And these guys just get high on... And anyway, it's crazy. But yeah, basically it's all about how he's got all this money and he can do whatever he wants. And the typical rise to power, fall from grace story. But it's just an insane movie. There's no other way to describe it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But all that said, Leonardo DiCaprio is amazing in it. His part is really, really good.
I was just gonna say, like, the stuff that I've seen him in have been really good. Like, I first of all, I never saw Titanic, but everything after that that he has been in, I think I've seen.
I have not
he's
seen
been really
Titanic
good.
either.
Wow.
The problem that I had with Titanic was, like, when it was being promoted and when it was in theaters, like, it was all you heard about. You know, it didn't matter who you talked to, what channel you had on TV, if you turned the radio on, what station you were on. None of that. All you heard about was, oh my gosh, Titanic! You know,
Yeah.
and as a result, I was like, to heck with Titanic. I am no longer interested in this movie. There's been so overhyped for me. Now, I've seen bits and pieces of it, you know, since then, but I just never had the inkling to watch the whole movie.
It's a long one, but I could ruin the ending for you. I'm sure you already know it.
I've seen enough of it to know exactly how it
Yeah,
goes, but,
it's one of those where if you haven't seen it like within 2 years of it coming out, then there's no point because you already know everything that happened in the movie because everybody talks about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, so we've got 8 other movies to watch in between now and I don't know when the awards show is. March 2nd. There we go. So we've got a month and a half to watch all of these movies. And I'm excited for some of them, not excited for some of them. Like Her. Have you guys heard of Her?
Yeah, I really want to see it.
I'm looking at the film synopsis for Her on the Oscar website right now, and they lost me with the first sentence, because when I read, in a future when most of society's problems have been resolved, the search for companionship continues. Nope. Sorry. Not interested in the slightest. Because what kind of a stupid comment is that, first of all? Of course the search... I mean, one of society's problems is not, you know, propagating the species. That's just something that kind of happens on its own. You know, people just do that. Like, why would the search for companionship ever stop? That's my problem with that line from the synopsis.
Well, see, if you continue with the synopsis, the point of the movie is that Joaquin Phoenix is in love with a computer.
Oh gosh, yes, an artificial intelligence
I'm
computer
even less
operating
interested
system
now.
known
Right.
as Samantha.
So
Wow.
it's, I don't know, a lot of people have said it's really, really good. It's directed by Spike Jonze, a famous director. And I don't know, man. That's one of those where it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. But
I just wanted to say, when you said Her, I was picturing like Ben-Hur.
yeah, clearly. You know, somebody should
Character.
remake Ben-Hur. That would be awesome.
That way, with modern special effects, Ben-Hur
Yeah.
could be amazing. That's true.
So that's what I thought you were saying. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool.
Oh, okay, you know what? This is all making sense to me now. I didn't realize Spike Jonze was involved in being John Malkovich.
Yep.
Now the weirdness of Her makes complete sense to me.
Yep. And Spike Jonze. is a
I
weird
totally
dude.
get why that comes from the same person.
Yeah, he's one of those people that you watch all of his movies and you're like, man, how is this guy famous? But everything he does, everybody thinks is awesome. So
He is a filmmaker for the creative type, I think, that likes, you know, thinking outside of the box and, you know, trying weird things. Like, people really eat that up. And I mean, face it, most of these award shows, the decisions that are being made are by people in that community. So of course that's what the sort of thing that people are going to enjoy. Which goes back to why I tend to place the People's Choice Awards at the top of the the relevancy ladder.
Because it's the people's choice.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, well, that's probably enough about stuff that people don't care about, Oscar nominations. Something that people may care about a little bit more that relates to gaming is Surgeon Simulator. Did you guys play that?
I never played it, but I watched Generic do it, and I watched Kurt do it.
Oh, man. Channels. Is that not the craziest game?
I have to recommend, for people who don't mind a lot of strong language, I have to recommend the guys over at Rooster Teeth. They have a series called Rage Quit, and it's normally the one guy, and he just plays like really hard games and gets angry and yells a lot and finally rage quits. Well, they did an episode though. They did Surgeon Simulator where it's him and one of the other guys, and it's one of them is controlling the keyboard and one is controlling the mouse.
Oh gosh, that's insane!
And it's just
I don't know how you would do that.
Crazy. And it's just so yeah. If you don't mind a lot of strong language, then it's a pretty funny video.
Right. Well, something new that's coming to Surgeon Simulator is that it is now going to be on iPad as an app. So with that, they're kind of rolling out something to get people even more excited about it. There's going to be a new Surgeon Simulator Dentistry mode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's going to be called, the iPad version will be dubbed Surgeon Simulator Malpractice Makes Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I haven't watched this video yet. There's a video about what's going to happen, and I'm frankly really too scared to do it anyway. Luckily, I don't think... Well, actually, no, you can LP from an iPad. So you may get some LPs of Surgeon Simulator Dentistry. I don't know. But I'm pretty terrified to watch it and experience all that it has to offer.
I don't know. My dental hygiene might improve if I do watch it. So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like wow, we barely need to do anything at this cleaning. Well, I've seen Surgeon Simulator Dentistry, and that was the end of it for me. I now brush and floss 5 times a day, and
the worst thing in my opinion is that the patient is awake during this version of Surgeon Simulator, which can't be.
Oh gosh. I hope that it yells and stuff you start drilling, the person just screams.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Gosh. It's I'm trying to see when it's scheduled to come out. It doesn't say here. I don't think it's called. Oh, maybe it's called Surgeon Simulator 2013, but it's not out yet. So they probably should update that anyway. Okay, so next, I'm kind of fascinated by 3D printing. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the podcast yet. But something that's interesting that came out this week is that Adobe is partnering with Shapeways and MakerBot, who are two big guns in the 3D printing industry. And Adobe is going to bring 3D printing to the Creative Cloud, which is very interesting. Kind of the first really, really big player to get into 3D printing, at least software-wise, I guess. I don't know. But something that will bring it to a lot of different households and everything. So I guess you still have to have your own 3D printer, but the fact that it can be uploaded to the Creative Cloud is going to entice a lot more people to use it. So I think this is a pretty big story. Not much to say about it, but that's a pretty big story.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I had only recently heard of the MakerBot stuff because I follow Will Wheaton on Twitter, and he got a MakerBot. And Will Wheaton. And he had posted that he had been making some stuff on MakerBot and some pictures of his creations in there, the models that he was printing out. And I find it to be a very interesting thing.
It is, and it's fairly inexpensive. Like, we have a MakerBot. It was I think it was $2,000 or something, which is crazy cheap for a 3D printer. And I don't know what we're gonna print on it, but it's got
but we have one.
Yeah, I don't know. My dad bought it. He said he wanted it, so I was like, whatever. So we printed some pretty cool stuff that is completely non-functional so far. But I don't know. I think 3D printing is gonna take off, and it's gonna be very, very interesting. And it also kind of scares me that people can 3D print whatever they want. Like, I was talking to my girlfriend's dad the other day, and he was like, you know what? I would 3D print Beyonce.
my
And I was
God.
like, okay, that's terrifying. I'm now not
Alright,
in favor of 3D printing anymore because people are going
I'll
to
just
3D
be
print.
right over here. Yeah.
They're gonna, as long as somebody can figure out how to use SolidWorks or some kind of 3D modeling software, people are gonna 3D print the craziest things.
Well, I'll tell you what. You were talking about printing out whatever you most desire. I like this next story. 3D printed chocolate.
Yeah, I just somehow came upon this on my phone, and I thought it was completely fitting with A, the last story, and B, what we talked about either last podcast or the one before that, where you got those chocolate dice.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it goes along with what we've been talking about. But apparently, you can 3D print chocolate. I don't know if you can do this or if it's in the future, but Hershey partners with 3D Systems, which is another kind of big player in the market, to where they can 3D print chocolate.
I love the name of the device. They call it the Chef Jet.
The
Like an
chef jet.
inkjet or laser jet. This is a Chef Jet.
I can't believe somebody just like spent as much money as they did. I don't know. This may be profitable. I don't know. It's just crazy to me that you can 3D print chocolate.
I honestly feel like, any of these sort of high-end restaurants that have the real, sort of, delicate or complicated meals that they put together. I fully predict that Disney will have this in their resort.
Oh,
for sure.
yeah.
Disney will own one of these things, in every restaurant that they have, and be printing out crazy models of things in chocolate for people to eat.
Yeah, see, I'm even more scared because that means my girlfriend's dad can print out a chocolate 3D Beyonce now. Even more terrifying.
I want one of those.
Chocolate 3D Beyonce.
Yes.
That's going to be so weird.
Oh, man.
I didn't know until yesterday. I was reading an article about it that doctors are actually using 3D printing for like printing body parts. Like,
yeah, organs.
yeah, that's scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
But
pretty
it's
crazy
really
stuff.
cool though.
Yeah, we learned about that in college. It's a bio something 3D printing. Basically, you 3D print skin cells or whatever kind of cells you're trying to create, and you can print them into certain shapes to where they can start growing and basically create a new. I think liver is the easiest one to do if I remember right. But if there's so many people on the organ donor list for kidneys that they're really trying to figure out how to 3D print kidneys, and if they can do that, then that's a huge step forward for a whole lot of people.
That's amazing. You no longer would need organ donors
Right.
so much. You just need
Mhm.
you
just need a buttload
tissue
of money.
donors or something. And yeah. Well, there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Medical technology always absolutely blows my mind whenever they talk about new advances in that, because the technology that exists in medicine today already is mind blowing. And then anytime they talk about new innovations coming to that field, it's like, man, we really do live in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, 3D. I mean, we could just make organs out of almost nothing. That's insane.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah, they've done it, but it's just, I mean, they I guess they 3D print, I think it's livers all the time, but they're still working on kidneys. They don't really want to get one that's not 100% complete and stick it at everybody.
You don't want to beta test the 3D printed kidneys.
Early alpha on Steam.
Wow.
You get a 25% discount over the final market price.
It's the winter sale on organs.
If you- Oh man. All right, well, we'll move on to Minecraft news. The 1.8 snapshots have just started coming out, I guess, about 2 weeks ago, as of this podcast. They started doing the 1.8 snapshots, and there's a bunch of stuff that they've added. They seem to sort of they've kind of split the difference between survival mode improvements and adventure mode improvements, like for map makers.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of quick go down the list here. You can now put slime balls in a crafting table the same way you would like lapis or whatever to make blocks. And they serve as sort of limited trampolines whenever you place them. When you fall on them from a height, you bounce back up part of that height. And they also, I guess, slow you down more than soul sand.
Sorry, I think this one requires a little bit more talking since it's like the main feature so far, which is crazy to me. Is slime block trampolines? I mean, really? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it.
I suggested something like this a while ago. I'm like, I wish you could craft slime balls into a block and then you could maybe like bounce a little bit on it. And people laughed at me, and they were like, slime balls in a block would be a slime.
You should be able to make like slime golems.
Oh, slime goal! Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being able to create like an NPC thing by arranging slime blocks in a certain formation, and
that'd be crazy.
Like place the slime blocks in a 3x3 with like a pumpkin in the middle, and then it becomes your pet slime or something.
Yeah, you can create the Stay Puft Jet Puff Marshmallow Man or something. But see, the thing about the slime blocks that they've done is, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but you don't bounce as high as you originally jump. So I think that limits the use of them a lot. Like what? Yeah. I don't know. I've been looking on the Reddit all the time to try to find really useful things for them, and people really haven't found anything. I did find a slime block cannon that I think is a bug, but I'm going to have to try that out whenever we update to the snapshots. But basically you can you basically force a piston to push a slime block into your player, and it shoots him up a ridiculous amount of blocks.
Oh.
Anyway.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
If they don't nerf that, then I'll definitely add something like that. But aside from that, I just don't really know what you can do jumping off something and then not jumping up as high.
Yeah, I mean, some people have talked about how it's kind of a handy safe fall thing, because whenever you land, you don't take any fall damage.
But it takes forever to actually land if you're jumping from a height.
Yeah, and it's not like a pool of water, like you can just land in that and then jump out, and the fact that you can't, increase your height by pressing the space bar at the right time or whatever. I really feel like if they're going to keep that mechanic in, that they're going to tweak it some more as the snapshots move forward. Because as it is right now, I don't see any purpose to crafting slime blocks except to compact my slime ball storage. I don't see any reason to place it in the world, really.
And now that you say it, that's a pretty good idea, the whole jumping at the correct time. If you can add like a skill aspect to it. Because really it would be realistic if you talk about like trampolines, you can create your own height from that you couldn't normally attain by jumping at the correct time. So,
yeah, or like if you had some way of, maybe you send a redstone signal to it and it changes as a result of that. Like if the redstone signal's on, you bounce higher. If it's off, you bounce lower, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that they could do with that. But, I'm just going to sort of sit back and see what they do.
Yeah, if they incorporate a redstone with that would be a crazy mechanic.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
There's some big changes with enchanting coming up as well, which are a little... Yeah, and repairing, that's true. It's a little... It's easier, I think, to see in people's videos, and I always recommend DocM for checking out snapshot highlights. But one of the things that they've changed is now whenever you enchant, the enchantment itself only costs either 1, 2, or 3 levels, depending on what tier you're going for, but you have to reach the level requisite for that tier. So, for instance, if you want to do a level 30 enchant, you get the level 30, but then it will only cost you 3 of those levels to do the enchant. But you also pay 3 lapis, like the blue dye, at this point. And there's some talk, like the UHCers are like, we want to be able to make this gold so that it's, there's a trade-off thing. Do I use the gold for healing or for enchanting kind of situation? So it'll be interesting to see if they, how they address that, if at all. It's a little weird. Oh, and the other thing that it does is now, once you put an item in, it shows you the first enchant of, the possible list of enchants that you might get on it.
Yeah.
You know at least one enchant you're going to get before you pick it, but then you have to enchant something to reset that list. So if you put a sword in and you see Bane of Arthropods, you can't reset that enchant for a sword until you go and maybe enchant a pick or something. And then it'll reset the list, and when you put a sword in, you'll get, a new list for the sword. Which, it's interesting. I don't know, I haven't played around with it to know how practical it really is in terms of the gameplay mechanics. Whether I find that more useful or less useful than the
game
current
seems
system.
so stinking easy now, though. Like, it takes 3... You already know what you're getting, so you can tell if I'm going to go get Silk Touch, and I can get Silk Touch for 3 levels. Like, that's...
Yeah, this is true.
Crazy. And whenever you repair something, I don't know... what did we say the repair cost is? It's like...
The repair cost has been flattened out. I know one thing is you can rename items for 1 level instead of the 5 or 7 or whatever it is. And I think that's very good.
Yeah, I don't like spending 5 levels on renaming something. But really, there's no point in renaming anymore.
Exactly. I was about to say, it should be pointed out that renaming your item in 1.8 will not adjust the repair costs at all. Like right now, you can repair things more often or for less cost because of having it named something, and they've taken that out in 1.8, at least as of this point, and flattened down the repair costs anyway. So it'll be easier, I think, to repair things moving forward in terms of the amount of levels that it will cost. But I'm not sure how far that extends to, keeping your Silk Touch pick alive or whatever.
Right. And then I don't know. It just seems like you're gonna have crazy overpowered tools and weapons constantly, and it's not gonna cost you anything. And you already know what kind of enchantment you're gonna get on everything. I don't know. It seems like the game is getting super easy.
I just wanted to point out this is actually really nice for me anyway, for the one level rename thing, because you were saying there's absolutely no use for renaming, but actually, like I've done stuff for like Thanksgiving. I made a chest full of like Thanksgiving themed foods, but I wanted to do turkey, and so I renamed a whole bunch of cooked chicken as cooked turkey. And when you're doing like, I don't know, like 16 of those at 5 levels, that's a lot of levels.
80.
That's true. Yeah.
Look at that math. That's good math.
Yeah. So yeah, cosmetically, it is a useful change in that you're not going to have to spend as much to rename things when you want to do that. And I think naming your stuff, even though it doesn't mechanically help with the repairs like it used to, I think that's still a useful thing, because then you can differentiate your diamond pick from somebody else's diamond pick. Because inevitably, there's PvP moments or whatever where people end up collecting each other's stuff, and it's a lot easier to sort through if you have your stuff named.
And death messages are always fun too.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true too.
Turtle power and whatnot.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Well, they also are adding 3 new stone blocks, which have crazy names that I'm not even going to bother looking up or pronouncing at this point.
Andesite, granite. I got those two. What's the other one? Diorite.
Yeah, diorite, yeah. And apparently it will generate among regular smooth stone, and it has, other than being retextured, it has essentially all the same properties as smooth stone. But you can craft them 2x2 to turn them into a polished equivalent of that. You can also craft cobble and quartz in various configurations to get these blocks manually.
Yep.
In case you don't want to try and go out to new terrain to find it. And then next up, and I'm not sure how much what I feel about this, but apparently they're making it so that you can now craft the mossy stone brick that you find in strongholds by combining a stone brick and a vine, if I remember right. Turns it into a mossy stone brick. And you can also craft those circle stone bricks, the chiseled bricks that currently you can only find 3 of per jungle temple, and that's the only source of them. You can now craft them by just throwing stone brick slabs on top of each other in a crafting recipe. They've made a bunch of tweaks to adventure mode, so if you are a map maker or you enjoy playing adventure maps from people that take advantage of the latest features, you will be able to enjoy these. For example, I know Snow has played like the Code and...
I play all the things. I play all the popular things the cool kids play.
Yeah, with the crazy teleports that enable the map maker to have this non-Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, I'm so scared of what he's going to do with this new stuff.
One of the things they've added is they've made teleports that are relative. So I want to move the player 20 blocks to the left kind of teleport commands are now much smoother because they maintain the player's momentum. So as you're walking around a corner and you get teleported from one chunk of the map to the other, you're not necessarily going to notice if the terrain is very similar between source and destination.
Right, and there used to be this kind of like glitch feeling in between whenever you would get teleported, but now that it's so smooth, it's like, God, it's gonna be so crazy. But on top of that, going into the next subject, combining with this one, they've added the new world edit commands, which can now be accessed via command block. So basically, you can what are the new commands? Clone and
there's clone and fill.
So what you can do if you combine that with the relative teleporting, it's going to be insane. Like you can basically clone a room right next to you and then relatively teleport yourself into that. I don't know. Jesper, the guy who makes the code 1, 2, and 3, is going to make some insanely amazing stuff with that.
But some of the other tweaks they've added to adventure mode is that you can now, with NBT tags, declare that certain tools can only break certain things. So the first thing that I thought of is Drew and my wife and I played an adventure map together at one point where, like, you would get a shovel and it would say, now you can break clay with this shovel. And that was like a rule in the map. But there was nothing actually stopping you with pre 1.8 from digging up dirt or anything else that a shovel could break once you had this shovel. Mm-hmm. But now they've set it up that you can get a shovel that has a tag on it that says can only break clay.
And then that's a rule in the map.
Yeah, so that way you can't use that to try and cheat your way through things. And like you could, this pickaxe can only mine moss stone, really cool. And go from there. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And they have also added the ability to, with NBT tags, to lock and unlock chests.
Only in adventure mode, by the way.
In adventure mode, right. In survival, you still don't have that, rely on your ender chest for that kind of security. But in adventure mode, they can have these chests set up that they are locked. And you can actually set it up that if you have an item in your hand named whatever, say key, for instance, that when you open the chest with that in your hand, then the chest will actually open. So you can then place like a tripwire hook, for instance, in the map. This is often what is used as like the key for whatever. So you can place that and you can name it key, and then it'll unlock a particular chest because that chest was set up that it requires something called key to unlock. And then the final big change so far with Minecraft is that 1.8 is going to support a new skin format for your avatar, which has a lot more flexibility in what in what you can have. You can customize left and right, arms and legs separately, and have multiple layers that can be toggled on and off in your game settings.
Right. So I don't know about you guys. I don't know. This was like the main change in the second snapshot. The first main change was the slime blocks in the first snapshot, and the second one, I guess World Edit was probably bigger than this. I don't know. But lots of people are more excited about the skin changes. I'm just not that hyped about it. I don't know. What about you guys?
I mean, I'm happy with my Minecraft skin.
Drew, everybody hear that? Drew is happy in his own skin.
Yeah. I feel like I would want to try to take advantage of it a little bit. So I might, because I've done a little bit of skin creation on my own. My default skin is one that I just got off the internet. It's a generic, Legend of Zelda Link skin that you could probably find. Probably dozens or hundreds of people also have on their avatars. Right. But it's something that I might want to take, a stab at tweaking it with the new skin format and trying to make it a little bit more my own. At that point.
Yeah, I still just hate the external layer. Like, you can see the space in between the external layer and the internal layer. Unless you wrap it all the way around. Alright, well, I think that does it for all of our topics today. And this is the point where we would normally end the Dim Guys podcast. But this time, we've got questions.
Questions! Huzzah!
Whee! Yay!
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we actually got, I think, one of the questions, and I forget which one it was, of our 2 user-submitted questions so far, actually came in, I think, the day after we recorded the previous podcast.
Yes.
So it didn't make it into that one, but we'll address it in this one. And we'll just jump right in here. I'll read the first one. It's from user A Million Monkeys. I presume at A Million Typewriters, typing out the works of Shakespeare. Said, hey guys, great podcast. I've enjoyed both episodes so far and look forward to many more. First question is, would you consider putting out an audio-only downloadable version? I tend to mostly listen to podcasts when I'm out and about, and it's hard to stream from YouTube anywhere but in my house. I'll continue to be a loyal listener even if this isn't possible. Well, we appreciate that, A Million Monkeys.
And the answer is no, because you're going to continue to be loyal, so it's easier for us just not to do it.
Exactly. We did talk about this a little bit before we started recording, and the main problem I think that we have with the idea of making it downloadable is that we don't have a host that we'd be able to put it on, other than a normal public file share thing like a media fire or whatever the heck those things are. So I don't know how well that would go, because they can be kind of sketchy and the files can just disappear and whatnot, and it doesn't have the consistency I think we would prefer from that. But the recommendation that I would have is you can go out and you can do a Google search. There are websites out there that will allow you to punch in a YouTube video address, and it will provide the ability to download an MP3 of that video's audio track. So that might be a way to obtain a downloadable version. You can just pull up the video URL, punch it into that site, download the MP3 and load it onto your player and have it, portable as a result that way.
Yeah, I think let's try to find one of those, a good one, and link it in the description, you think?
Yeah,
if we can.
That's probably okay. I don't know 100% how well that plays with like YouTube terms of service because I haven't looked into it. I don't think it's a problem. But it's, it's something that we can look into, and we'll try and provide some more information in the video description. So Look down and see if we managed to do that. And then second question, and this is for the whole group. It says, what do you think of DLC, so downloadable content, and games that make you pay to unlock content that was included in the disc or download, as opposed to games like Minecraft that are constantly updated, but you only have to pay once?
I think that's a fairly simple question to answer, but there's a little bit more to it. Like, obviously, we like Minecraft, where you don't have to pay anything to update it once you get updates. But I don't know. What do you guys think about DLC? I'm on the fence with it. I've never actually bought any DLC before.
I personally have bought quite a bit of DLC for my Xbox games. There are some concepts of DLC that I really enjoy and don't have a problem with paying for. And there are other ones that I don't like, but for those I just probably wouldn't go ahead and pay for anyway. Some examples of that, Borderlands, and other kind of open world games like that, like the Elder Scrolls as well. They have come out with multiple DLCs that generally come out well after the game has already been released, and it's kind of like, okay, well, you beat the game, here's a whole new storyline, new areas to explore, and those are usually the more expensive DLCs, but I don't really have a problem with those. It's like getting a whole new game, but you get to use the character you already built up and all that stuff. Forza 4, when that came out, it had, I'm pretty sure day one, like the first day it was out, they had car packs for sale, where it was basically, we didn't put these cars in the game because even though they were ready when the game was out, kind of because we want you to pay more. That's sort of what it seems like. And I do have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think it's depending on the motivation behind the DLC. Like, if they're just trying to get money from it, which obviously is the main motivation in general, then that's fine. But I think there's a good balance between trying to get money from it and trying to get something that the people actually want, not something they need. That whenever they hit that right balance, then I think it's appropriate. Okay, so next question. This one's specifically from Drew from, is it Junior Beers 717 or JR Beers?
JR Beers 717.
Okay. Either way. All right, Drew. This is a telltale question here, I think. Have you shot your horse in Red Dead Redemption? He or she says, I did that at least 2 or 3 times by accident, of course. So have you shot your horse?
No, I've not shot my horse. I have accidentally shot people due to the auto target and and things like that, where it's like you aim down your sight and it just instantly aims at the nearest person, whether it's like sometimes there's a bandit farther away and then there's like a person walking down the street and it aims at the innocent person walking down the street, and then I have to reload my save so I don't have a wanted level and all that stuff. No, my horse died once, and that was because I was chasing a bandit and I didn't pay attention to the fact that there was a mountain lion right next to me. So,
always a good idea to look for mountain lions.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm having a lot of fun with Red Dead. So,
that's cool.
And then I actually have a question for Daudur, just because she hadn't really been talking very much, and she's our guest. I wanted to point out, for anyone who didn't realize, Daudur did the art for our podcast. She also did my channel art, and she does a lot of really cool stuff for people. And so, Daudur, I was just wondering, like, when did you get into art, and maybe like what kind of programs you use when you're making your art and stuff?
I want to throw in a side
Good
here.
question.
She makes free thumbnails if anybody wants a free thumbnail. You can check my Twitter. There's a great free thumbnail on there.
Oh,
So
I
if
gotta
you
check
need
it
channel
out.
art, just ask her, and she does it all for free. She has unlimited time.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
great.
oh god. I don't know. I got into art, like I've been drawing since like I was 1 years old, so it's like always been a thing for me. But I got Photoshop or like into doing digital art when I was like 15, which was a long time ago because I'm old. And I just started making like small avatars and stuff, like signatures on forums back in the day. And yeah, I just use Photoshop.
Do you have some sort of tablet, sort of pen? Like I forget what they're called.
Like bamboo
because
or something like that?
Yeah.
I have
What
one
do
of
they call them?
those, but I haven't really been using it because it broke, and then I fixed it just like last week, and I just made something. Yeah, the thing is, like, I wanna learn how to do digital painting. I'm not good at that at all. I just did something for Snow that I think looks terrible, and
I don't think it looks that bad.
thanks.
Typical artist.
Eh,
All of my stuff is crap, and everybody else's stuff is good.
And by
That's how you know you're an artist.
yeah, I was
when you
gonna
feel
say by that
way.
bad, I mean I think it looks good. I just realized it sounded bad. I think it looks terrible.
Look, I don't think it looks horrible.
No, I already
I
told you,
mean,
I
there
think it
are
looks- I
some
think it looks
definite
like it.
areas where there should be improvement,
Yep.
but yeah.
No, I like it.
yeah, but the podcast thing, I just want to say it's not my proudest work at all. I did it in 5 minutes in class because I had no time.
You know what? I think right now we need to issue a challenge to ourselves, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to each spend 1 full hour doing our best graphic for the podcast,
Oh gosh.
and then we can show Daudur how wrong she is about her quality.
Let's do it.
Because I guarantee you give me an hour, like the sort of thing that I'm going to come up with is not going to be anywhere near as good as what you were able
Break
to
out
provide.
the
us.
MS Paint.
Yeah, exactly.
But the funny thing about that is that I did that because Drew said he needed it like the following day, and I had literally like no spare time, so I did it like on a coffee break at school. And then I made another version that I think looks way better, and you all hated it.
No, we didn't hate it.
We didn't
We
hate
just
it. We
liked
just
this
preferred the
version
first
better.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second version was a little bit more like 8-bit graphic inspired, I think, in terms of the typeface and whatnot. But I like the more flowy script of the current version.
It's girlier.
As did the rest. So
Hey, what are you trying to say?
Yeah,
it's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And we like to think of ourselves as sophisticated podcast.
Or we don't know what we're
As
doing.
certainly you can attest, having experienced a recording with us.
Yeah.
How sophisticated we are.
So, Daudur, do you have like a DeviantArt or something where people can go look at your art?
no,
I bet she does, but she's just like, no. I guarantee you. she
Where
does.
I do.
where are you willing to let people find you on the internet, Daudur, so that our
Just
listeners
don't.
know?
Just don't
Well,
look for
We
me.
do
Just
actually.
don't at all.
No,
Actually-
She's like, in fact, I want you to edit out everything of mine
yeah,
from
could you
this
just
episode.
like make it look like I wasn't even here? That would be great.
That last question and answer session is gonna be pretty awkward then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with,
well,
our, with our special guest, and then this just cuts.
you can just bleep over my person.
I do want to point out, because she did the art for our podcast, her Twitter is already in the description. So we do have that.
Indeed.
I think the only thing like
Yeah.
the site that I have up is just for my photography, which is I have a Flickr site.
Oh, right.
But I don't put any of the quote-unquote art that I do. I just need...
Well, did you want us to link to your Flickr? Because we can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she's got some really great photos, and she has a whole album from Minecon.
Yeah.
That has over 5,000 views on it.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So if you weren't able to go to Minecon and you wanted to see it from the perspective of a VBFS member, hanging out with fellow members and Mindcrackers and et cetera, you go check out that album on Daudur's Flickr, which will be linked to in the description right above her Twitter.
Okay, well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, Daudur, for being on the podcast. We really enjoyed it.
Indeed.
Thanks for having me.
GG. We should say that to our guests. No, that's so stupid. We're not going to say that ever again.
GP, good podcast.
No, okay, yeah, GP.
GP,
no re.
GP. Oh, man.
All right.
Well, if you guys have a question to submit to us, you've been staring at the email address, presumably all this time, because I added it to the graphic. But we are at demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
DEMGUYSPODCAST.
Yes! So she's like, I have one job on this podcast, and I'm going to do it, dang it.
I know, that's the only thing I can do intelligently. I think.
But yeah. All right, well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.